Final. Cup championship bound, baby! Woo! Big cup, baby! Woo! The year, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow! Let's go!
June 17th wasn't just another game. It was sweet revenge. Think back to May 30th, when J.C. Sheldon and the Connecticut Sun left Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson hurt on the court, and those cheap shots went ignored. Well, the Indiana Fever didn't forget a thing. And when Sheldon jabbed Caitlin Clark right in the eye during the rematch, it lit a fire. What followed proves exactly why you don't come for Clark's crew. Because Sophie Cunningham was locked in and ready to unleash the most glorious flagrant foul you'll ever witness.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with J.C. Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye.
Picture this. May 30th, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. And everything unraveled for the Fever in the worst way imaginable. The game began like any other, two WNBA teams battling for position. But the Sun brought a level of physicality that pushed past fierce and into outright reckless. From the opening tip, you could feel the tension crackling through the air.
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? Two players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was J.C. Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Sophie Cunningham went down first after what looked like a deliberate hit. The contact was brutal, way too much for a routine basketball play. Then Sydney Colson took a shot in another shady sequence that left everyone wondering what was really going on out there. The kicker? J.C. Sheldon was at the center of both plays, bringing an aggressive edge that made your blood absolutely boil.
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs. They weren't Achilles. They were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the It's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
Here's where the college history heats things up. Sheldon and Clark had been clashing since their Iowa versus Ohio State battles. Back then, Sheldon made it her goal to rattle Clark every time they shared the court. She shadowed her non-stop, threw bumps on every screen, and never missed a chance to talk trash during dead balls. This wasn't just a game anymore. This was personal.
Her mortal enemy. Took out a player. J.C. Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy, J.C. Sheldon.
The refs that May Day let it all slide, like they were watching a different game than the rest of us. Hard fouls, no whistle, dangerous plays, ignored. Clark had to stand by as her teammates went down while Sheldon skated by without even a warning. With every possession, the frustration grew. The Fever battled to the end, but fell 85-83. More than just a loss, they were down two key players, injuries that could have been avoided if the officials had done their job. Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson were out, and their absence hit hard in the games that followed.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse.
It is dangerous. Like, Sid Coulson is between her and the ball. Sid Coulson is, in fact, between JC Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul. It wasn't even called as a foul.
You could see it in Clark's eyes after that loss. The way she stared down Sheldon in the handshake line. The edge in her voice during the post-game interview. This wasn't finished. Not even close. The Fever would remember every detail. Who threw the hits, who got hurt, and how the refs just let it all slide. June 17th couldn't come fast enough. And when it did, Clark was back from her quad injury, fresh off a dominant win over the undefeated New York Liberty, and locked in to face the Connecticut Sun again. It was just her second game back after 3 weeks off, but you could tell she hadn't forgotten a thing. The way she stepped onto the court, the way she stared down the sun during warm-ups. This wasn't just another game, not for her.
She just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right. Here is Clark splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
JC Sheldon is there on it with her hand in her face.
The game tips off with that same thick tension hanging in the air. Sheldon's on Clark from the jump, guarding her like everything's on the line, way too close for comfort. She's glued to Clark on every possession, throwing bumps on screens, doing all the little things that turn basketball into a brawl. It's the same reckless intensity that sidelined Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson back in May. And everyone in the arena can feel it. Something's coming.
And Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going at it saying, hey, oh, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. And Marina steps in to protect JC.
Third quarter hits, and here comes the moment that flips everything. Clark is bringing the ball up court when Sheldon steps in to defend. She reaches in for what looks like a steal, but her finger goes straight into Clark's eye. The contact is instant and impossible to miss. Clark's head jerks back from the impact. You can see it clear as day.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and JC Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Here is if Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Clark instantly grabs her face, pain and fury flashing across her expression as she realizes what just happened. She's squinting, trying to blink it out, but you can tell this is more than just physical. She knows exactly who did it. The same player who took out her teammates is now coming for her, using the same dirty tactics that slipped by the refs last time. So Clark does what any true competitor would. She pushes back, literally shoving Sheldon away after taking a finger to the eye. It's instinct, pure and simple. Anyone would do the same. The crowd explodes because they all saw it. But unbelievably, the refs are about to make things even worse.
Hey.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabrey. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
Clark standing there, clutching her eye, clearly the victim of a dangerous play. Yet the officials reach for their whistles. The arena erupts in confusion and outrage. Fans are pointing to the replay boards, where the eye poke is plain as day, but the refs aren't budging. Instead, they hit Clark with a technical foul for pushing back after getting jabbed in the eye. A technical foul for defending herself. The call makes zero sense to anyone watching. Clark had just dropped 32 points in her first game back from injury, and now she's being punished for reacting to the same player who took out her teammates. The message this sends? That targeting Clark comes without consequence, and if she stands up for herself, she's the one who'll pay the price. But that eye poke? That was just the spark. Because Marina Mabrey saw it all go down, and she was about to raise the temperature to a whole new level.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. JC Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabrey, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
Right after Clark gets slapped with that bogus technical foul, Marina Mabrey decides she's done watching and takes matters into her own hands, in the worst way imaginable. Clark is still trying to shake off the eye injury when Mabrey storms over and does something that leaves everyone in the arena absolutely stunned.
That's what Clark didn't like. Then Mabrey came in with a bump.
And Mabrey's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams.
This wasn't basketball contact. This was straight up assault. Mabrey body-checked Clark like it was a hockey game, not the WNBA, sending her crashing backward to the court. The hit was blatant and completely uncalled for, so obvious that even the most casual fans could see it for what it was. Clark hit the floor hard, stunned, and you could see it in her face. The shock of realizing that yet another Connecticut Sun player had just taken a cheap shot at her.
And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
The entire Fever bench leaps to their feet because they've just watched their star player get assaulted right in front of the referees. Players are pointing at Mabrey, yelling at the officials, pleading for someone in stripes to finally step in and do their job. The crowd is losing it, roaring with disbelief as this unfolds right on their home court. Coach Stephanie White is on the sideline, completely unhinged, screaming at the refs who are somehow still missing what's happening right in front of them. She's waving her arms, pointing straight at Mabrey, desperate to make them understand that this has gone way past normal basketball contact. White knows exactly what's happening. Clark just got targeted again, and the officials are about to blow it. Again.
Now after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the 3 referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
The refs hand Mabrey just a common technical foul, the exact same penalty they gave Clark for simply defending herself after getting poked in the eye. Let that sink in. Clark gets jabbed in the eye and pushes back. Technical foul. Mabrey straight up body checks Clark to the floor in retaliation. Also a technical foul. The math doesn't add up, and everyone in the arena knows it.
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant 1, of course, on JC Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
White goes off in the post-game press conference. When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long, this is what happens. She's had it. She's done watching her players get targeted while the refs just stand there and let it slide.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter. And we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
The message couldn't be clearer now. The officials weren't going to protect Clark, so her teammates would. Sophie Cunningham had been watching it all unfold from the bench, and she was about to send a message no one would forget. Nobody messes with her teammate. Final minute of the game. Fever's cruising with an 87-70 lead, and JC Sheldon gets the ball one last time. The clock is winding down, but Cunningham isn't thinking about the score anymore. She's thinking about May 30th, when she went down hurt. She's thinking about Clark getting eye-poked with no real punishment. She's thinking about Mabrey body-checking her teammate to the floor.
So now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. At the end of the game, JC Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like it happened in a split second and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
Cunningham remembers everything from that brutal May game. Her own injury, sitting on the bench in pain while Sheldon strutted around untouched. She remembers the refs turning a blind eye as her teammates took hit after hit. And now, here's Sheldon, driving to the basket. Cunningham sees her shot, and she's not about to let it pass.
Sophie commits a hard foul on JC Sheldon. Again, as JC Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm going to give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
She lines up Sheldon and delivers the most satisfying, flagrant foul you'll ever witness. Cunningham grabs her hard, wraps her up, and drags her to the floor. This wasn't a basketball play. This was payback. This was justice. This was Sophie Cunningham making it crystal clear. You don't mess with her teammates. The officials hit Cunningham with a flagrant 2, and she's automatically ejected. Sheldon and Lindsay Allen get tossed too for jumping into the fight. 3 players ejected, but the message was delivered. Justice finally hit the court.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure JC. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, JC Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and JC are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
Clark finishes with 20 points and 6 assists, leading the Fever to an 88-71 win that felt like way more than just a victory. Natasha Howard notches her 50th career double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds. Kelsey Mitchell chips in 17 points. It was a full team effort, but everyone knows what truly mattered.
A rare miss at the rim for Aaliyah Boston, the league's top field goal percentage shooter in the WNBA, but it's Boston who comes up with the steal and the find to Howard. Clark working on the rookie. Clark on the drive. Hang, shot too strong. There's Howard to clean up.
And Clark working off the ball, comes off the stagger,
Third year in her WNBA in terms of setting up her teammates. Clark behind the back, beat inside. 2 more for Howell.
This wasn't just about beating the Sun. This was the Fever showing they won't be bullied, they won't back down, and they always protect their own. The win sends them to their first ever Commissioner's Cup final, but more importantly, it sends a message to the entire league. If you come after their players, you'd better be ready for the consequences.
The Indiana Fever fans were chanting, "Sophie, Sophie." Sophie's jersey is going to sell out tonight. She's going to be in the All-Star game tonight just from this one play because she was standing on business. It wasn't a dirty play. It was an intentional foul and it was meant to send a message. It turned into a scuffle and I don't think anybody wanted that.
The Fever got their revenge after that brutal May 30th loss. Clark got her justice after the eye poke and the body check. Sophie Cunningham became a hero for stepping up when it mattered most. Sometimes, the officials won't protect you, but your teammates will. That's exactly what happened on June 17th, when the Indiana Fever showed the basketball world they're not backing down from anyone.
Oh, and Clark just took it away. It's a 2-on-1. Clark, bounce pass, pretty fine, and Mitchell won't miss from there.
This game proved the Indiana Fever aren't just talented. They're a family that fights for each other when it matters most. When the officials won't protect their players, teammates like Sophie Cunningham step up and handle it themselves. That's what real loyalty looks like in professional sports. Now, the Commissioner's Cup final awaits on July 1st against the Minnesota Lynx. And after watching how this team rises through adversity and stands united, 2025 is already looking brighter for Fever fans. Remember this moment the next time someone says loyalty doesn't exist in pro sports, because Sophie Cunningham just proved them wrong. If you ride with the Fever, drop a comment below, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment.
You know what? This is just like a breath of fresh air. I'm not kidding. I think it's been day 5, day 6. I don't even know what day it is, to be honest. But it's just everyone's in it for the right reason. Everyone's in it. You have great energy. You have great people. And at the end of the day, everyone's putting aside their agendas and doing what's best for the team. And let me tell you, it is refreshing and everyone's excited to be here.
Remember when Angel Reese and Kennedy Carter thought they could push Caitlin Clark around without any backlash? When opponents took cheap shots and the refs stayed silent? That chapter just closed in spectacular fashion.
She needs an enforcer. She needs a brute that will wreck people if they wreck her.
Sophie Cunningham just walked into Fever training camp with a presence so bold, it's shaking up the entire WNBA. The veteran sharpshooter and Taekwondo black belt isn't simply adding depth to the roster, she's becoming the bodyguard for the league's most targeted rookie. In this video, we're diving into Sophie's fierce camp performance and what she had to say on the mic, and why she might be the Indiana Fever's newest secret weapon against cheap shots and hard fouls.
Sometimes you need one of those players on your team. You need one of those enforcers. Every good player, by the way. Every good player, every good team that is a super duper star. Most of the time have enforcer type players.
Remember when Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA as the most hyped prospect in league history? That electric buzz quickly gave way to something far more troubling. As the season progressed, a chilling trend began to surface, one that left both fans and analysts speechless. The stats speak louder than words. A staggering 17% of all flagrant fouls in the WNBA last year were committed against a single player, Caitlin Clark. Let that sink in. One rookie, surrounded by seasoned pros, somehow absorbed nearly 1/5 of the league's most dangerous hits. This wasn't random, it was deliberate.
So there's a hot topic going on right now. Caitlin Clark says she got cheap shotted against the sky. I mean, throughout the season, she's been getting beat up. Hard screens, elbows, knocked down.
Game after game, the pattern was too obvious to ignore. Opponents weren't just playing hard-nosed basketball, they were going out of their way to hit Clark with brutal screens, heavy contact, and actions that crossed the line from intense to outright reckless. What should have been a showcase of elite skill turned into a nightly trial by fire. The main culprits quickly stood out to anyone paying attention. Angel Reese emerged as Clark's most visible rival, mixing aggressive defense with non-stop trash talk aimed at rattling the rookie's focus. But the most blatant act came from Kennedy Carter, whose shoulder check on a fast break exploded across social media in seconds. These weren't just plays, they were messages.
Clark! Hammer!
What made it all even worse was the officiating. Time and again, the refs held their whistles on hits that would have drawn instant fouls for anyone else. Clark was left to fend for herself, absorbing contact with little to no consequence for the defenders. While trying to lead a young and inexperienced Fever squad, she also had to survive a physical gauntlet night after night. The lack of protection wasn't just frustrating, it was dangerous.
That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
Through it all, Clark remained composed. Even as she endured a level of physicality that would have driven seasoned vets to call out refs or rivals, she never once used the media to vent or place blame. Instead, she kept her focus, battled through the contact, and carried herself with a poise well beyond her rookie year. But the impact was undeniable on her rhythm, her confidence, and her ability to play free. The Fever front office saw it all. Game after game, they watched their franchise centerpiece take hits, and they made a clear decision. This would not carry into her second season. Their answer wasn't just about upgrading talent, it was a strategic move to build a roster with one purpose in mind: protect Caitlin Clark.
Like, she needs an enforcer, and if it ain't gonna be me, Michelle Rappaport, like, where is Charlize Oakley? Doesn't her team have like a Zavaria McDaniels or a Rakisha Mahorn? She needs like a goon on her team, because when your star player that's bringing so much money, so much attention to the league, and it's a collective, it's a bunch of them, it's been brewing.
This wasn't just about stacking wins, it was a clear signal to the rest of the league. Anyone targeting Caitlin Clark would now have to deal with the consequences. The Fever weren't just assembling a roster, they were building a wall around their most prized player. But one question loomed large. Who would set the tone for this new no-nonsense attitude on the floor? The team needed a fierce blend of talent, toughness, and fearlessness. And they found it in a 6'1" force of nature, Taekwondo black belt, seasoned competitor, and someone who never backs down from a challenge.
Caitlin Clark was getting hit a lot. She was getting hit a lot early, and they needed their Charles Oakley. You've got that in Sophie Cunningham.
Enter Sophie Cunningham, a name already known across the league, but whose purpose in Indiana became crystal clear the moment she stepped up to the mic at training camp. Behind her impressive 37.8% career clip from beyond the arc lies something even more vital to the Fever: a fearless mindset and a statement that sent shockwaves through the WNBA.
I just think that's what they were doing in the offseason. They were trying to get winners, people who know how to compete, people who want to win, and put that together with experience, people who have championships. And so when you have that type of combination, and us kind of young bucks, I'm kind of a tweener, and then you have the vets, you know, you're just trying to be a sponge, you're trying to learn, you're trying to be good now, but at the end of the day, you're trying to be the best when it's preseason, right? And so that's why you have those vets, is so you can learn from them. They've been around the game for a really long time, and that's kind of the refreshing part about being on this team, is that everybody wants to learn, and so everyone's dialed in.
And that's exactly why you have veterans, so you can learn from them. They've seen it all, they've done it all. What's special about this team is that everyone's eager to grow, and you can feel that focus across the board. So when Sophie Cunningham stepped into her first Fever media session, The room expected the usual sound bites: new beginnings, team chemistry, season goals. Instead, she dropped 6 words that shook the league. "I'm here to make sure nobody takes cheap shots at our players. That stops now."
I do think that everyone knows that we have something special here. I think a lot of teams have a lot of teams that are special, a lot of rosters that are special, but can you put it together? Can you put aside your agendas? Can you come into work every single day when you're tired, when you're sore, and still get something done and stack the days? And that's what we're doing. Today was tough, you know what I mean? Like, we've been going for a long time. They haven't been, this is not an easy training camp, I'll tell you that, but I think we're gonna be better for it. And I think if you ask anyone, everyone kind of just feels that nice energy.
What makes her the ideal fit for this enforcer role isn't just her size or strength on the floor. It's her background, rooted in discipline and physical mastery, that directly fuels the way she plays the game. Over the course of her WNBA career, Cunningham has earned a reputation for never backing down, always meeting intensity with intensity. She's exactly the kind of player you want standing between your star and the chaos, an unwavering shield for a team ready to draw the line.
So I'm on year 7, and I did not believe people when they're like, hey, when you get old, you're gonna know. Boy, I think I'm starting to get old, and I hate saying that. But no, it's just, we play fast, right? We're gonna be quick. We're a run and gun, we're a shooting team. But with that, you got to get your cardio up. With that, you have to play fast but play smart. And so there's a fine line between that, and we're all trying to get that. There's a lot of people here, a lot of different rotations, a lot of people that you haven't played with before. So you have to know where they want the ball, when they want it, their rhythm, their style of play. And so a lot of people are learning, but it's fun, right? Everyone's excited to be here. Everyone's working hard. We've had 3 really, really good days.
The veterans' dedication isn't limited to protecting Indiana's rising star. In training camp interviews, Cunningham spoke about building a culture rooted in trust and unity. "It's important that we know and love each other off the court," she said, "because that naturally leads to chemistry and the drive to fight for one another on the court. That mindset points to something bigger than defense. It's a blueprint for culture." Cunningham isn't just shielding Clark. She's helping create an environment where every player feels safe, valued, and ready to go to battle together.
You know, I don't even want to sound like this, but it's been easy. It's been easy because you have really, really great people here that want to be a part of something special. And so they're not only phenomenal athletes, but they're phenomenal people. They're out in the community. They do what's right. I don't know, we're just good stewards. And so when you're around those types of people, it's refreshing. And when I say this, I'm truly happy to be here because it hasn't been like this for my career in a really long time.
When reporters asked her directly about the rough treatment Clark faced during her rookie year, Cunningham didn't hold back. "That's not basketball," she said flatly. "That's not going to happen on my watch." Her words were sharp, clear, and impossible to misread. With that one statement, she drew a line in the sand. The era of targeting the Fever's franchise player with unchecked physicality was done.
Anytime you play with the GOAT of our team, or the GOAT of our game, you're going to learn a lot. You know, you have to be ready for the ball, head on a swivel at all times. And the way that she throws the ball is a lot how DT threw it. I think this is just the younger version of her, so she has a little bit more energy, a little bit more spunk. I miss DT in her prime, but doesn't mean she wasn't great when I played with her. But honestly, at the end of the day, everybody can shoot, right? If you're cutting and you're open, you're going to get the ball. And so you just have to be ready for that. And I'm excited for that. And I think you'll see 1 through 5 is interchangeable.
And Cunningham's time playing beside legends like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner gave her a front row seat to life under the microscope. "I understand what it's like to have every move scrutinized," she shared during camp, highlighting her focus on blocking out distractions and guarding the team's mental space. That kind of veteran perspective is already paying off for a young roster navigating the pressures of the spotlight. Her experience isn't just guidance, it's armor.
I'm so grateful and blessed to have my time out in Phoenix. I met a lot of cool people. I had a lot of great teammates. I learned a lot, had a lot of great times, but just a new era for me, right? A new system, a new type of energy. And so, of course, I'm excited for it. I'm happy to be close to my family. I'm excited to have my teammates, so I'm starting to even get close with now, and I think we're going to be a lot of friends. And so, I don't know, it's a new vibe, and I'm happy.
What makes her presence so powerful isn't just her willingness to protect. It's how seamlessly her skills elevate the entire offense. With that lethal three-point shot, defenders can't sag off her, which means more room for Clark to create. It's a double-edged sword. Go after Clark, and you'll pay with buckets from Cunningham. Ignore Cunningham, and she'll light you up from deep. But beyond the sharp shooting lies something even more critical to Clark's success: a basketball mind that sees danger coming before it strikes. While fans are buzzing about their scoring chemistry, the coaching staff is watching a defensive partnership quietly take shape. We're only on day 3 of Indiana Fever training camp, and Sophie Cunningham is already stealing the show. Get ready, WNBA fans, because the season just delivered one of its most electrifying finales yet. As the curtains close on this year's action-packed games, Phoenix Mercury's standout Sophie Cunningham, teammate of the legendary Diana Taurasi, has sparked intense conversations with her bold comments about Caitlin Clark that have everyone buzzing. But that's only scratching the surface. Caitlin Clark didn't just shine this season. She redefined what's possible on the court. From shattered records and jaw-dropping plays to leading the Indiana Fever through an unexpected transformation, her impact was undeniable. And here's the twist. Some of the league's seasoned veterans are feeling the heat. Yes, you heard right. This rising star made such waves that it stirred the egos of established stars. Stay tuned as we break down all the highlights and dive into Cunningham's remarks that have everyone talking. In a recent interview, Sophie shared this eye-opening insight about Caitlin Clark.
But I think they've done a great job in the league as well. I think the physicality and all that they're going to get used to, but I think especially Caitlin Clark, she's been killing it. And I'm a huge fan, and I never say that, but I think it's fun what she's doing.
Can you believe what's unfolding in the WNBA? A seasoned teammate of the legendary Diana Taurasi is openly lauding a rookie, and that's a rare sight in the league. Sophie Cunningham isn't stopping there. She went on to say, "When it comes to viewership, man, I think a lot of people have a lot to learn about our league. But I think that's a really fun thing. If you have anything negative to say about the viewership and everything this rookie class is doing, I just think you're not capitalizing on it and you might be a little jealous." Sophie just unleashed a bombshell against anyone criticizing Caitlin Clark's success and her fellow rookies. Essentially, she's arguing that if you're not thrilled about the league's growth, the issue lies with you. But why is Sophie, an established player, so passionately defending Caitlin Clark and the new rookies? The answer is straightforward: impact. Clark isn't just excelling on the court, she's reshaping the perception of the WNBA. Since her debut, viewership has surged. Stadiums that once had empty seats are now buzzing with fans. People aren't just tuning in to Indiana Fever games. They're buying tickets, jerseys, and buzzing about the WNBA on social media like never before. And here's the kicker. Clark is achieving all this as a rookie. She didn't need years to adapt or build a fan base. She arrived and is already a force to be reckoned with. That's why Sophie and other insightful players recognize that Clark's success translates to the WNBA's success as a whole. But Clark's influence goes beyond scoring. She's redefining the point guard role in the WNBA. Her assists are masterpieces. She spots angles that others miss and delivers passes that leave commentators in awe. The craziest part? She's doing all this while facing defenses specifically designed to stop her. Entire teams have had to rethink their strategies just to contain Caitlin Clark, yet she continues to dominate. This is why veterans like Sophie Cunningham are so impressed. Clark isn't just playing well, she's changing the game, forcing teams and players to adapt and elevate the entire league. Now, let's dive into what Cunningham mentioned that's stirring up the league: the jealousy and criticism targeting Caitlin Clark. It sounds unbelievable, right? A rookie shaking up the league to the point of making veterans envious? But that's the reality. Some players and fans are complaining about the spotlight Clark is stealing, claiming it overshadows more experienced players. But let's be honest, this is pure jealousy. As Sophie Cunningham aptly pointed out, those who gripe about Clark's visibility aren't capitalizing on it and might just be a little envious. And she's spot on. Clark's success doesn't take away from any other player's value. In fact, increased attention benefits everyone in the WNBA. More fans mean more revenue, which can lead to higher salaries, better playing conditions, and more opportunities for all players. Clark is expanding the league's market, attracting new fans who might never have watched a WNBA game before. Once hooked, these fans aren't just following Clark, they're discovering all the incredible talent the league has to offer. That's why savvy players like Cunningham are embracing the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. They understand that a rising tide lifts all boats. Clark's triumphs are the WNBA's triumphs. And let's face it, Clark deserves all the hype. She's not just racking up numbers, she's redefining what's possible in women's basketball. Her passes, court vision, and scoring ability are at a level rarely seen from a rookie. So to those feeling jealous or critical, here's some advice. Instead of complaining, ride the wave. Use this surge in attention to showcase your own talents. Because what Caitlin Clark is doing is opening doors for all WNBA players. Moreover, Clark's impact on the WNBA's popularity is likely to keep rising. We're already witnessing a significant boost in viewership and fan engagement. If this trend continues, we could be on the verge of a new golden era for professional women's basketball, leading to more investments in the league, better contracts for players, increased media coverage, and possibly even expansion to new cities. The possibilities are endless. Additionally, Clark is inspiring the next generation. How many young athletes are watching her now, dreaming of becoming the next Caitlin Clark? She's fueling a new wave of talent that will only strengthen the WNBA further. Finally, let's consider Clark's legacy. If she maintains this trajectory, we're not just talking about a great player. We could be witnessing the rise of one of the greatest of all time. She has the potential to be to the WNBA what legends like Michael Jordan and LeBron James are to the NBA. However, it's not all smooth sailing. As Clark continues to dominate and draw attention, the pressure mounts. Expectations are sky high. She set a tremendous standard in her rookie season, and everyone expects her to surpass it every game. What happens if she has a bad night or goes through a scoring slump? Critics will be quick to pounce. Then there's the physical toll. The WNBA season is long and demanding, especially for a rookie. Clark is logging more minutes, facing tougher defenses, and traveling extensively. Can she maintain this level of performance through the season and into the playoffs? And let's not overlook the mental strain. With every move scrutinized and every word analyzed, the pressure is immense. Will she be able to stay focused and continue performing at an elite level? So, what do you think? Will Caitlin Clark keep dominating and break all the records we've discussed? Or will other teams find a way to challenge her? And what are your thoughts on Sophie Cunningham's comments? Do you agree that the criticism Clark is facing stems from jealousy? Or do you believe there are legitimate concerns?
So, the old legacy WNBA media did not think this was possible. They did not think this.
The Indiana Fever continued to make massive moves in free agency, signing Sophie Cunningham and DeWanna Bonner. And you guys, I don't even think they're done.
Not everyone in the WNBA is riding high these days. Some players have just struck it rich by joining a team with Caitlin Clark, leaving the rest of the league watching with envy.
So Caitlin Clark is now a member of the new Indiana Fever. Remember what they got the big five. They have five. The top 24 scorers in the WNBA last.
The Fever have crafted something extraordinary around Clark, blending seasoned veterans with up-and-coming stars who thrive alongside one of the best passers the sport has ever seen. While some doubted Indiana's ability to lure top talent, those skeptics were proven wrong. So why are players gravitating towards Indiana while others are left pondering missed opportunities? Let's dive into the details. This shift is a game changer for the WNBA.
So firstly, you guys, Sophie Cunningham was traded to the Indiana Fever for NaLyssa Smith and a pick. The Indiana Fever also acquired forward Jaylen Brown, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I am not familiar with her game. She is going to be only a second-year WNBA player, so we will have to see how her game translates to the Indiana Fever. But Sophie Cunningham was such a huge...
Caitlin Clark hasn't even played a single WNBA game yet, but she's already reshaping the league's landscape. When the Indiana Fever clinched the draft lottery, it wasn't just about snagging a future superstar, it was about transforming the franchise's entire identity. For years, Indiana was seen as a perennial underdog, struggling to define itself and attract marquee talent. Now, everything has changed, and the rest of the league is feeling the shift. The prevailing narrative was that Indiana couldn't possibly lure key free agents. Critics genuinely believed that seasoned veterans and emerging stars wouldn't be keen on joining forces with Caitlin Clark. They assumed she would falter without a solid supporting cast, citing Indiana's market, its history of losing seasons, and the so-called controversies surrounding Clark as deterrents. But here's the truth. Players are driven by the desire to win. In the competitive world of the WNBA, you recognize opportunity when it knocks. Caitlin Clark isn't just a talented player, she's a generational force who makes life easier for her teammates. She's the kind of athlete who gets everyone involved, elevates good players to greatness, and brings out the best in those around her. That's precisely why Natasha Howard decided to make the move to Indiana.
The news just dropped. DeWanna Bonner has been signed to the Indiana Fever. I'm about to knock my light over, bro.
That's why DeWanna Bonner was linked to the Fever, and why Sophie Cunningham ended up donning their jersey. Now, let's take a closer look at Natasha Howard. She's far from an ordinary free agent acquisition. She's a WNBA champion, a former Defensive Player of the Year, and a proven winner. With plenty of choices on the table, she opted for Indiana. And why wouldn't she? Playing alongside Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston is a dream come true. Clark spreads the floor, dishes out open looks, and consistently pushes the pace, while Boston commands attention in the paint as an interior powerhouse. In that dynamic, Howard flourishes. In Indiana, she'll enjoy easier scoring opportunities, more open shots, and the chance to contribute to something truly remarkable. When Howard inked her deal, the reactions were all over the map. Some in the WNBA media, especially those who rarely delve deep into the nuances of the game, acted as if her decision was nothing short of shocking. They clung to the outdated notion of the Fever as the same old underachieving team from a couple of years back. But the truth is, Indiana is no longer that franchise. They've set a clear vision, a star playmaker at the helm, a dominant post presence, and a coaching staff that knows how to build around such talent. It's this vision that's drawing players to Indiana and rendering the old idea that no one would sign there utterly ridiculous. Then there's Sophie Cunningham. The instant she was traded to Indiana, attention turned her way. Cunningham isn't merely a shooter. She's a gritty, high IQ competitor who excels in a system that values ball movement and purposeful play. She doesn't need to hog the ball to make an impact. Instead, she excels in off-ball movement, finding open spaces and delivering those critical extra passes, all essential skills when playing beside Caitlin Clark. And let's not overlook her defensive prowess and tenacious attitude. Cunningham's edge, her disruptive play, and her refusal to back down were exactly what Indiana needed. After all, you don't just want talent, you want mental toughness, battle-tested grit, and a willingness to fight every night. That's what sets this new Fever squad apart. It isn't just a collection of skilled players, it's a perfect fit. Clark, Boston, Mitchell, Cunningham, and Howard together form a lineup with clear identity, one that's poised to compete and catch the league's attention. The rest of the WNBA is taking notice. Teams that once dismissed Indiana are now quietly seething with envy as free agents actively choose Indiana. Those who doubted the impact of Caitlin Clark are starting to see that they miscalculated completely. Clark isn't simply bringing excitement to the court, she's fast-tracking Indiana's transformation into a legitimate contender. Players who once passed on Indiana are now left wondering if they made the wrong choice, because being in Indiana now looks like one of the best opportunities in the league. As the season approaches, the buzz is only intensifying. The WNBA is awakening to a new reality. The Indiana Fever aren't just rebuilding, they're ascending rapidly. And many around the league are starting to feel that intense envy, realizing that the very players who once scoffed at the idea of Indiana might now be regretting their decisions. The Fever have quietly assembled one of the most balanced, well-structured rosters in the league, and it's impossible for other teams not to take notice. For years, Indiana was a team you hardly feared, a mere stepping stone on the schedule, but those days are over. The way they've constructed their roster, the chemistry that's already forming, and the strategic additions they've made are forcing both players and executives across the league to sit up and take notice. Some in the media tried to paint Indiana as an undesirable destination, fixating on external factors and ignoring basic basketball logic. What they missed was simple. Players want to win, and they seek out systems that enhance their abilities. That's exactly what Indiana has created. With Caitlin Clark leading the way, Indiana's style is modern, fast-paced, and unselfish. A system designed to make life easier for every scorer, shooter, and post player. Take Natasha Howard's move, for instance. Critics speculated that her decision was driven by factors off the court, but in reality, Howard made it clear. She craves recognition, victory, and a place where she can truly thrive. Indiana delivered on all fronts. The old media narratives couldn't fathom why someone like Howard would choose Indiana, yet any true student of the game understood immediately. Playing alongside Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston is an ideal situation for a versatile forward like her. She isn't saddled with carrying the offense or forcing plays. Instead, she gets better looks and greater opportunities than she has in years. And consider DeWanna Bonner, who was heavily linked to the Fever. Initially, skeptics questioned why she'd ever opt for Indiana. But why wouldn't she? Indiana offers a team-first, up-tempo style where veteran scorers can extend their careers while remaining highly productive. With Indiana's system, Bonner wouldn't be overburdened with minutes. She'd be surrounded by youthful energy and allowed to focus on what she does best: scoring and leadership. Instead, Bonner remained in Connecticut, a team that, while still competitive, might lack the vibrant, exciting environment Indiana is building. Because here's the bottom line: Indiana is on track to be one of the most exciting teams both to watch and to play for. With Clark's visionary playmaking, Boston's commanding presence in the paint, Mitchell's scoring prowess, Cunningham's grit, and Howard's versatility, the pieces are finally coming together in a way few teams can match. And now, the WNBA is watching closely. Teams that once dismissed Indiana are now rethinking their stance, while players who previously overlooked the Fever are beginning to reconsider. If Indiana makes a deep playoff run this year, and they just might, those who passed on them are going to regret missing out. What's most striking about the Fever's roster is how seamlessly everything fits together. It's not just about possessing talent, it's about having the right kind of talent. Caitlin Clark is not a ball-dominant guard who forces poor shots. She's a cerebral playmaker who involves her teammates, ensuring that scorers like Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham get the looks they deserve. Aaliyah Boston isn't just a reliable post presence. She's an elite two-way big who can anchor the defense and dominate on the boards, freeing up her teammates to focus on their roles. Natasha Howard brings veteran savvy and impact on both ends, offering Indiana the switchability and offensive depth they need. When you combine all these elements, you get a team built to win. As the Fever gear up for their inaugural season with Clark at the helm, one question looms large in the WNBA. How soon before other teams try to replicate Indiana's blueprint? Because there's no denying it, the envy is palpable. Players and executives who once wrote off Indiana are now witnessing a transformation in real time. This isn't just about one superstar. It's about a front office that has meticulously constructed a balanced, synergistic roster, forcing everyone to take notice. For years, Indiana was a team you'd barely give a second glance. Today, however, the Fever have redefined themselves through shrewd roster moves, strategic chemistry, and a visionary approach. Some critics in the media clung to outdated perceptions, failing to grasp that players want to win and thrive in systems tailored to their strengths. And with Caitlin Clark steering the ship, Indiana's fast-paced, unselfish style isn't just refreshing, it's revolutionary. The signing of players like Natasha Howard, along with the buzz surrounding Bonner and Cunningham, signals a new era for the Fever. In a few short months, the Indiana Fever have transformed from an afterthought into one of the league's most coveted destinations. The pieces are finally in place, the chemistry is undeniable, and the envy from across the WNBA is unmistakable. It all comes down to one thing. Caitlin Clark has changed everything. Her arrival has not only elevated the talent on Indiana's roster, but has also created an environment where players genuinely want to be. And as the league watches this transformation unfold, it's becoming increasingly clear that Indiana isn't just back in the game, they're here to change it.